as recorded is started, we would need to start from the beginning. So hello, everyone. My name is Roman Mierson. I'm the host of this podcast. Yeah, today we will have a lot of discussions, different ones. So let me introduce again Igor Rubanovich, representative for MGC community. Igor, hello.
Hello, thank you, Roma.
Yeah, and as Igor mentioned before we start the recording, today we have Spring, Spring-related article, a lot of news regarding Spring. And Spring is basically, well, in Europe, in Europe and in States, first day of the spring is 21st of March, not the 1st of March. So basically, spring came yesterday for some of the countries. So, yeah. So, yeah, spring is definitely here for everywhere. So our next co-host and the master of the articles and person who collect all this news for you, Vadim Yemelyanov. Hi, Vadim.
Hello, everyone. Nice to see you.
Nice to have you as always. Our expert who joined us in most of our sessions, Sergey Igoretsky. Hello, Sergey.
Hello, let me find my unmute button. Thanks for having me today again. So hopefully we'll have a very nice discussion.
Nice to have you as always. And our new experts, I suppose, I'm not sure if Sasha were with us on our previous sessions, but he always somewhere around our Java community. Alexander Marmin, Chief Software Engineer from, I suppose, rainy London. Hello, Alex.
Hello, Roman. Thank you very much for having me today. It was raining in London this morning, but right now weather is quite sunny.
Right now it's raining in the Netherlands, so thanks for that. Yep.
Yeah, so suppose it's the same rain.
Okay, so hello, Alex. Nice to have you here with us. And today we have one special guest from Lithuania, the head of Lithuanian Java community, Mikolai Karamach. Hello, Mikolai.
Hello. That's a pleasure for me to be with you today.
Nice to have you here. So we will discuss Lithuanian community a bit later. We have information about this in our article, but let's dive into the topics because today we have really a lot of things to discuss. So guys, just a reminder to you that all of you receive this nice email. It comes to all of you if your primary skill is Java. Or Scala or Kotlin, I suppose. So you receive this email, and here we have News Digest. It comes every month in your mailbox. So if you don't see this email, please search in your spam folder or in some, unimportant stuff folder. I don't know how your rules is configured. I'm pretty sure you should change your rules for Outlook, because each month you receive this nice digest of news all around Java world, and this is what we're preparing for you. So here are a lot of things which we will discuss today more precisely. And also you receive this email, I'm pretty sure all of you received it, with invitation to our JNews Talk. And inside this email, you may find special Spring crossword from our partner mini community. So guys prepared really nice interaction for you. Take part, have fun. Link is already in the chat, so you may find it there. Also, let me remind you that all our articles from JNews could be found on our community page. I will send the link to the current article, but basically you may go just to articles, and there you will find all the JNews we have for all the time. So if you miss something, you will find it there. Also, all our podcasts are published on video portal. So if you want to hear our thoughts about news in some of the articles, you may find all our recordings there. That's why I start the recording and restart the introduction. That's how it happened. Okay, let's dive into news, I suppose. So first, like the very first on the very row is news about abandoning Feign. Vadim, floor is yours. Can you tell us more about this one?
Okay, thank you, Roman. Actually, this article is not only about Feign, but actually about the approach about a new feature which is suggested by new version of Spring is HTTP interface with brief example how to implement that. If you initially use some libraries or you always puzzled you are always puzzled which approach to use. I mean, okay, HTTP library or some native Java features for implementing HTTP requests. So now you have kind of unified way to do that, and it is so powerful. So it can replace Feign. For the details, please look at this article. It's really interesting.
Yeah, so just to add a bit more details. So previously in Spring, if you want to make a connection to other services or some other stuff, in most of cases, we use Feign with interfaces prepared for calling URLs. Now Spring make it more smoother and integrate inside the Spring way to create interface like here. You may see it like here to call outer service, and then in the code you just like specify it with the factory, and then you just call the method specified in interface, and that's basically it. Also, let me add here that in Java 17 in Java 17 was added inside Java web server. So now you may do calls right from Java, HTTP calls, so you don't need any external library to doing that. Okay, guys, so what do you think about that?
Let me step in here. It's Alex speaking. So first of all, it's necessary to admit that OpenFeign was a third-party module, and it was adopted by Spring. And other than that, OpenFeign was used by many other frameworks, and it had a lot of configuration under the hood. So what we have right now is quite a good way of generalizing it, and we don't even need to think about ways of we don't need to think about third-party libraries anymore. Other than that, there is, I suppose, second significant improvement here is that we can choose which backend to use for our HTTP client, because even in Spring previously we had two options: REST template and web client. REST template is deprecated at the moment, and web client is a new feature, but still, in case if you need to do let's say more configuration anywhere, or introduce additional filters, or perform some, let's say, token exchange for more complicated integrations, right now we have a common place for doing that. So suppose migration to new declarative HTTP client from Spring is a good way of moving forward.
I may share also my opinion here. So for last, I think 3 or 4 years, I've been there were a lot of modules, third-party modules included in Spring Cloud when it just was announced. So we have Feign, which then was renamed to OpenFeign. We had Hystrix, we had Zool, and so on and so forth. Like a lot of third-party modules which were integrated into the Spring, and basically, when we were in, say, 2017, and we want to write some microservices, we just operate with these third-party services to do something. What's happening now, from what I see, first, Zool was replaced with internal Spring Gateway library. Then I suppose they replaced Hystrix, as far as I remember, and now they're replacing Feign. So they basically not only replacing, they integrated and built, making built-in something inside Spring for operating with data. To be honest, I'm not sure if it's good or bad. By the way, guys, you may share your opinion in the chat, so we will read all your comments, and also you may raise your hand if you have some opinions. So it's not only limited to our host and guests to share their opinion on that. But guys, anyway, what do you think about this replacing of third-party libraries and incorporating everything inside Spring?
Let me share my thoughts on this. So we see here that Spring doing maybe you heard about idea. I'm not sure that it was taught by Bill Gates, but something like this. If you cannot create something new, improve. And here we see that Spring improving himself. And what he do? He found that Feign is very useful, and without it, it's hard to implement microservice architecture. And he making the Feign inside Spring. The same with Hystrix and so on. So yeah, for us, for developers, it's rather convenient, useful. But for different teams, it seems like competitors' wars. And we will see in the future that a lot of good features will be ingested by the such kind of tools, frameworks like Spring and etc. It's improving.
I just thinking that as Alex mentioned, Feign was had a lot of contributors, right, from all around the world, and these people contribute to this library, and then this library were used in many of frameworks, not only in Spring one. Now we incorporate this feature inside the Spring, so this feature will be supported by Spring developers and also by community because Spring is open source, so you may contribute to it, but looks like they limit community who will support this feature. And this is a bit worrying, to be honest.
Yeah, as I told, some kind of competition and Spring want to be most useful for us, for developers, and only one. This is like a marathon for such kind of frameworks.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, let me clarify. I haven't said that Hystrix was used as substitution of Feign, not for sure. Hystrix is circuit breaker. What I mean that there were several libraries like Feign, Hystrix, Zool for different purposes, but they are being incorporated inside Spring library. So we don't use third-party library, but we use now something from Spring.
Well, I suppose it's a good and better scenario because even in Spring ecosystem, we have some abandoned projects which are, let's say, in a maintenance mode, but still under usage of many customers. For example, Spring State Machine. This is my personal pain because I am using this module a lot at the moment, and unfortunately, it is not under active development. It is under maintenance, and when I'm facing strange problems, I'm starting looking into the sources, and even in sources, I sometimes find to-dos saying that we need to improve this place because it is not working gracefully. And it seems as a user of this library, I have to contribute to it. So on the other hand, web REST communication is quite popular, so it's very unlikely that this module will be abandoned at least soon.
Okay, yeah, well, I think we will see what's going on. Yeah, I think Vadim has a good conclusion for our discussion in the chat. So basically, yeah, now we have Spring Boot 3, and I would say we would move to another topic. Let me find it. So yeah, this one. Vadim, I think floor is yours again.
Thank you, Roman. This article is a good recap of many topics which are highlighted in our last digest. So you can find the mention of HTTP interface right now at the screen, and one more hype topic which will be discussed during our today's discussion is Jakarta EE. So here are a brief description of Spring Boot 3 new features. Please read, please.
Yeah, so to be honest, not a lot of features. So the biggest changes, and I suppose that's why they changed version of Spring from 2 to Spring Boot from 2 to 3 is upscaling base version of Java. So now it's Java 17. You cannot use Java 11 anymore with Spring Boot 3.0. And second one is migrating from Java EE7 to Jakarta EE8. Which means that now you have to rename all your packages from Java X. Basically, you have here some example from Java X to Jakarta. Well, depends on. I think we discussed this in one of our previous podcasts, this migration from Java E to Jakarta. So yeah, just for information. So guys, what do you think about all these updates inside Spring? To be honest, I think it's like not a lot.
Well, yes, no. Go ahead.
No, sorry, not a lot. However, very powerful. Take a look on GraalVM and native images. If they implement it in the right way, it can perform Spring on new level. So I guess it's very cool thing. But we need to know how to use GraalVM, and I don't know if Spring adapted it for any level of developer.
Well,
It is.
fantastic question. Well,
Oh.
fantastic question, I suppose, because it will definitely introduce a lot of benefits and drawbacks at the same time. Because see, benefit is quite obvious. We will have an image which starts quickly, super quick, to be honest. But on the other hand, we'll have to pay for it during the build time. But it is not all. You remember we have microservices. And this is the overall idea of building small microservices, and GraalVM is moving us toward that. But also, if you have many services, you have to observe them. And I have some doubts how, for example, GraalVM images will be integrated with tools which instrument our applications. For example, Dynatrace or Datadog, which introduce Java agent to the application. Your application is no longer JVM based, honestly, it is native. And how will you collect metrics?
There's
So on the
actually a very good talk which was presented at Java 1, where they explained which challenges they faced by incorporating Spring Native into the core of Spring framework, as well as how it's working under the hood. So if I will find it, I will definitely share with the audience. But yeah, there's lots of magic happening during the build time for the application.
Nevertheless, there is another thing which I also would like to highlight. So, Roman, please tell me if I'm speaking a lot. It is ahead of time compilation, which we can use even without GraalVM. You know, Spring does a lot of things under the hood on application start, and I suppose this is a main drawback of Spring Boot because it takes ages to start. Like perform all bin post-processing, create all the proxies and so on. But using AUT, Spring AUT, we can use it without GraalVM, will allow us to reduce with boot time just by doing some work up front. And it, actually moves Spring forward significantly. And in case if some time ago you looked into competitors like Micronaut who did it, who did these AUT transformations a lot during build time, now Spring Boot is also moving to the same direction.
Well, I would say that was inevitable, as there are competitors like Micronaut or Quarkus, who basically based on the GraalVM and the native images. I think it was just a matter of time when Spring will integrate it, and basically Spring Native was released with Spring Boot 3.0 and Spring 6. So you now may build Spring Native images. I suppose in these articles. In this article, it's good described like what you will lose with building native image. So this needed to be considered for sure. So like it's not a silver bullet. Just like turn all your applications in native images and that's it. No. And also building native image taking a while. I really like example in Josh Long's talk on JetBrains, where he showed this picture. You remember these two programmers like fighting, like, "Hey, get back to work." Now it's compiling, so now it's again back with us. So it's compiling for quite a while. So yeah, this is definitely not you should do with all your applications. You need to think about that. Well, regarding other changes we have here. So we have update of Spring Data. Some good things that now CRUD repositories return lists and not iterators. So yeah, like yay, finally, because it was like why do you do this? And also some good stuff like with some new methods, which is there. Also have HTTP interfaces, which we already discussed with previous topic, and so yeah. We have now micrometer built in Spring. So it's also described great in Josh Long's talk. Maybe I will send the link later. Now it's easier to apply metrics for your application and provide them with Spring Boot Actuator with the management section and some other problems solved. And yeah, Java 17. So guys, have you tried already Spring Boot 3 and Spring 6?
Unfortunately, no. It's
Not
pity.
yet.
I have written a small POC just to check if it is compiling, and at least I can update my previous POCs with to Spring Boot 3. Yes, it works, but I haven't noticed any, let's say, significant benefits, at least, of using it. Yes, I can use, let's say, records as a first-class citizens, but what else other than that? Even problem details, it's a quite powerful feature, but still, in case if you're working in a big enterprise environment, even your exceptions have to be exception responses have to be aligned with something like a data dictionary, and data dictionary is not always compatible with problem details
And
with
secured.
RFC. Yes.
Yeah, I agree here. In my current project, we schedule update to Spring Boot 3 for summer. So maybe somewhere in September, I would be able to share with you more on how our migration went. Okay, so can we move forward then? Yeah, I suppose so. So let's have a small break and speak about community. So as I mentioned before, we have today a special guest from Lithuanian Java community, Mikolai Karamach. So Mikolai, floor is yours. Can you tell us more about the community?
Yeah, thanks, Roman. I'll try not to dive deeply in our community, just to highlight several activities, to do it as a break only. And the first, I want to share the idea that we have in our community. Yeah, first of all, of course, is to unite people and do some networking kind of. A lot of relocation was done to Lithuania as an example, and we need to collaborate all together. But as well, the main focus here is to make sure that engineers and developers who are, for example, not working with the Spring directly on the project, as for example me, also to be aware of latest technologies, of cutting edge techniques, frameworks to stay in trend, let's say, and also to develop T-shape or M-shape culture. That's our idea and our, let's say, main focus that we have. What we have right now, we have like several events already handled as external event as well, but there are like only few of them, not on a regular basis. But as well, we have regular tech talks for specific topics that can be interesting for Java engineers mostly. And as separate, we have a regular offline open discussion in the office. Like, I don't know, we can compare it to the Link Coffee maybe. But it's only that we have right now. But we'll also have a grandiose plan for the future. And that's, first of all, we are going to have 2 global events. First one is external event, mostly for Lithuania, because we are going to do that on not only for the EPAM, but for all the companies here in Lithuania, to invite different speakers and to have like a cool event. But as well, I want to highlight, or maybe to promote already, an event that we're going to have is together with the MJC community later on for the EPAM employees mostly, but also related to being a T or M-shape engineers. But that's not about our local Lithuania plans. Here we are going to have, I don't know, small hiking and picnic together with discussing Java latest updates as something I'm not sure I need to promote in the global area because that's really Lithuania specific. Anyway, I also want to highlight the latest activity for now. That's the event we're going to have tomorrow, and anybody can join it even from any location. We're going to have kind of garage startup hackathon in the office, but you can join it online as well. Participate in providing a business plan for different ideas that we have. We're winning some prizes, badges. Yeah, if you're able to join it here in the office, you will also be able to taste some snacks and the pizza. But the idea is to have like innovative spirit and to develop innovative spirit in our engineers. Yeah, hopefully it not take a lot of your time. So that's it. Thanks a lot for the attention.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for this introduction. So if you are somewhere around Lithuania or in Lithuania for sure, please join this great community. I'm really wish you good luck with all the events. So, and the event you mentioned, please send the link to the chat so guys will be able to join if they want to. So yeah, guys, this was about the Lithuanian Java community. So don't forget to join it if you're interested. And also, if you know some other community which we want to be presented here, just ping us. Each event we try to have some guests from different communities all around EPAM. So it's really good that we have so many of them and share knowledge about all these communities. Okay, let's move back to the news. Before that, I'm scrolling, so I may show this. The new episode of Late Night Java podcast were released. This time we speak about technology trends and regarding technology platform and radar. So you probably received some emails this fall and this winter regarding voting for technologies, so don't miss the topic. It's quite interesting, and new voting is coming, I think, next fall. So don't miss that. Okay, let's go back to news. Vadim, let me give you ability to choose which one you want to discuss next.
I think let's go one by one. So we discussed Feign, introducing Spring Academy. I think there is a small topic. Just note that Spring has started their own educational initiative to gain some experience, gain some skills from the best representatives of Spring community.
I believe actually it was the response to their State of Spring survey, when lots of respondents shared that they would like to have some sort of official resources where they could learn Spring. So that's why they created this sort of academy. And yeah, there's already a learning path inside. So in case you'd like to uplift your Spring and Spring Boot knowledge, that's the place to go. There's, I believe, also a tailored course if you'd like to take a certification, Spring related certification. So you'd like to know more about edge cases and stuff like that. So you should definitely enroll to this course. And I also believe that over time they will support this initiative by adding more courses and making sure that they are up to date.
Guys, I have a question to all of you. How did you met Spring first time? How your journey with Spring started? If you can remember.
Good question. I think, at least for me, it was somewhere in the university when I was trying to build some sort of web applications. And at that time, Spring had, I believe, the best documentation. So that was like the only framework which was well documented and which, I tried to use, and it actually worked out of the box.
For me, it was a new job place. When I was a big data engineer, one more coming out today. The core of our product was written in using Spring Boot. So it was a kind of low-code platform which allowed to build ETL processes, big data ETL processes, and the core functionality, user functionality, was developed using Spring Boot backend and I don't remember React or Angular for frontend. So that's it.
Okay, cool. Alex?
Yeah, I'm quite old, and I remember it was 2011. At that point, I was writing applications in quite weird technology called IBM Domino, and we had an internal classes in the previous company where it was possible to learn another programming language, and I was already familiar with Java, but I remember I wasn't familiar with Spring at that moment, only with Java EE. So as for me, it was really the same, but with a less amount of frictions.
Igor, Nikolai, if you can remember.
As for me, it was, a long time ago too. And it was when I switched from my previous profession to the Java development. And I faced with Spring because it was needed to know this framework on technical interviews. So I've learned GSP, and after that I've tried to implement my pet project on the Spring to move from GSP to the Spring. I was, whoa, it's so easier, a lot of saving time, and it's helped me better to understand, of course, Spring concept. But it was so long time ago.
Okay, and Nikolai?
Yeah, for me it was university time when, yeah, indeed I was writing some servlets to make it like work all together. And for me, I have a chance to take a look on the project already using the Spring, and the easy way how to do that all together in one places, and really want to highlight the documentation was really powerful, and I was able to solve any question I have with documentation only. That's a great feeling. That's exciting. But I do also have another question here, if I can to dive in, just step back. Do any Java engineer need to know Spring? Because currently I'm not working with Spring on the project, but if I go to any interview, I often really see that anyone expects a Java engineer to know Spring pretty deep. But what about Java Enterprise Edition? What about Jakarta? Can it be replaced fully, or I still should know the Spring really well?
One more topic from our today's digest.
Yeah, but let's try to answer this question.
Yeah, the Spring is our major knowledge, yeah, major framework. You must know Spring, and other Jakarta, something else, it's additional for you. It's a plus for you. But the Spring is the main idea. I'm joking if not a must, of course.
So Spring is a social lift.
Well, I may share my story because I'm the only one left. I think maybe it's also answering partially the question. I think it was 2016. I was working with EGB3s, and you know all this world of G2EE and all this stuff. I heard about Spring something, but it was like, okay, I have no clue what's going on there. And then my friend, he showed me Spring Boot. It was nearly released. He said, like, look, you just write this, this, and this, and it works. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to dance with any national instruments to make it work. So it was like, whoa, whoa, amazing. And then I watched a couple of talks from Josh Long, I think. It was like, wow, it's really so easy. And in short period after that, I joined EPAM basically, and it was my first project with EPAM. And in a short period of time, I became a Spring Boot expert because not a lot of people were familiar with that. But like, I was okay, guys. Let me show you how to work with this Feign, Hystrix, Cloud, and just Spring Boot stuff. That was kind of fun. Yeah. So I just want to remind that Spring is not antonym to Jakarta, because Spring still supports all the interfaces which came from Jakarta, and all of these is supported. So I would say that knowing Spring means that you understand concepts which are in the G2EE and understands with all this all this stuff which is going on with annotation in Spring. So yeah, so something like that.
Roman, by the way, do you remember all Spring, even without annotation, but with XML configuration? Are you old enough in order to remember that annotations were not there from the very beginning?
Hopefully, I remember, but hopefully I have never worked with this version of Spring, so I'm lucky one. But
Wow.
I configured G2EE with XML configuration, so like I know much more pain.
Yeah, actually, annotations were there from the very beginning, but at least when I started working with Spring, it was like version 3 or something like that. It was already like mix and match whether you'd like to work with annotations or XML. And yeah, I think starting from version 3, most engineers decided to stick to annotations because it was way more easier.
Yeah, so let's move on from nostalgic memories. So Sergey already mentioned a state of Spring, and we have an article analyzing state of Spring report with Spring engineering team. So Vadim, maybe you can share with us more news about that.
I think it's better to read it because it's a kind of synopsis of Spring. How this conference called? Sorry if I get Spring 1. It is on the screen. Yes, so I think. Sorry,
I can actually pick it up from
some...
here because I have this kind of report adjust here. So if you don't mind, I can share my screen and we can quickly
Sure.
go through this
Sure.
report. So let me try to find. So I believe, yeah, you can see now my screen. So let me move you somewhere here. So state of Spring report. I believe, yeah, the survey were really huge and promoted in every social media and so on. So I will probably skip the boring part and then go straight to some fun numbers. Like for example, where is so here's what we get in terms of well, microservices, monoliths and stuff like that. So like more than 90% are trying or pretending to use microservices. Well, still like around like half or like 32% using modular monoliths, and I believe Spring monolith is well also kind of helpful there. There's clearly like an adoption in terms of reactive and serverless stuff, which also driven by several Spring internal initiatives. But that's it in terms of modern architectural styles. What else do we have? Yeah, here's also some breakdown in terms of how well engineers typically using Spring Boot and Spring applications, so mostly for well exposing APIs. And yeah, there's lots of use cases, but most frequently just exposing OpenAPI or like plain JSON over HTTP. There's also well around 30% for SOAP, which is kind of strange to me at least, but it's still there. And yeah, rise of adoption in terms of GraphQL. So there was also, I believe, an announcement last year about Spring for GraphQL. So well, another level of abstraction for those who are working with GraphQL. What else? There's, I believe, not so important. Yeah, so some struggles with Spring, which I believe were already discussed. Slow startup time, poor memory usage, but over time, I believe the situation has improved. At least here's the statistics, and I believe with the introduction of Spring Native, yeah, it will be also adopted in the future. Of course, yeah, Spring Native, almost everyone heard about it and will probably try to play with it in a couple of years or months. And yeah, what else? Of course, lots of excitement for Project Loom. Actually, there was a news article, I believe, this week that well, Project Loom will be released with Java 21, and with Spring Boot, the next major release will also support it. So it's a good idea to try it out. And yeah, so some plans for future upgrades from Spring 2 to Spring Boot 3, and yeah, so that's basically it. I highly recommend you to check out the full report because you may find something useful for you. And yeah, handing over to you, Roman.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I will send the link to the report into the chat. From what Sergey already mentioned, just if you missed that by some chance, yesterday Java 20 was released. So if you looking for it and tracking it, it was released yesterday. You already checked that, and yes, Project Loom was marked for release version for this fall, for this September, for Java 21. So yeah, we all waiting for this. And regarding the article, we already discussed a bit. So this is the analyze basically of the state of Spring report with engineers from Spring. Yeah, so this is what you would like to check and see more there. Sergey, thank you very much for overview over this report. And I suggest to move to the next topic. We already touched that with Nikolai's question. So basically, this is Jakarta versus Spring, and the war goes on.
Actually, this article is full of open questions. There is no kind of resolution. So what should we use, Jakarta or Spring? And you know, during one of my last assessment sessions where I was an expert, there was a good question from candidate. Why we have so why we are so much focused on Spring, but not on Java Enterprise Edition, for example, in Jakarta.
Do you want us to answer this question, or do you want to put it rhetorical?
I have no answer on this question. Probably just Spring is very much higher demand on Java developers with Spring or Spring Boot skills in EPAM.
Well, we have more than 200 participants. Maybe we can ask who is using Java E specification, who is using Spring. Maybe run a quick poll and see who will win.
Yeah, guys, can you raise your hand if you using not Spring on your current project? Java EE, I mean Jakarta, Quarkus, Micronaut, whatever else. I'm pretty sure I forget something. Okay, it's not zero. We have 3 hands raised.
Spring, Micronaut, we have both.
Okay, you may also raise your hand. Okay, that's nice. I would say that's nice. Yeah, my opinion on that one is that yes, Spring is basically the standard for the industry at the moment. There are a lot of great competitors like Quarkus, Micronaut, which we already mentioned, and basically, yeah. So we now like the most of industry using Spring and Spring Boot for power up the applications, but it's not like it's not like only one still. Yeah, I see. Alex. Alex made a poll.
Poll, cool. Yeah, and I want to add that sometime we are working with Spring as developers, just developers, and later we became decision makers, and we starting new project from the scratch. What do you choose for new project? Jakarta or Spring? And you taking in mind that you will need to find experienced developers that will join your project even and start development. Yeah, what you will choose in this when you know that in my company around the world, around the LinkedIn, let's say, and new developers will join the company, they with high variance will have skills in the Spring. Will you choose Jakarta or Spring in this case?
I'm showing another article which
it's
would
another
add
one
more
too.
fire.
Yeah.
But still, it's like in somewhere in the air. So like, if you need to choose between only Java frameworks, well, let's go out of this. You may also choose from not Java frameworks.
I have one project when I've choose Node.js instead of Spring. Yeah, I've already did choice for Node.js because Spring Boot I don't need so powerful tool in my project. It depends, but Spring, I mean that it's very, very flexible. That's why we are using it everywhere. Okay, let's switch on Node.js with Spring. It's rather interesting.
Why not PHP then?
Look, Alex, when I've thought about Node.js, yes, and I have a separate project here, yeah, and for online shop, I've chosen PHP.
By the way, for PHP, it's not that ugly than it was like 5 years ago. Now PHP looks really like Spring. So they have annotations, they have nice like code flows, they have lambdas. Not saying that all of us should move to PHP, but still
WordPress. Yeah, you need online shop. You can use WordPress, and you will have out of the box all needed things. Lightweight, not expensive, yeah, and a lot of support around the world. You don't need to use Spring Boot and write code couple of months. Just use WordPress for this.
Yeah, so just to add a bit more context, this is another article from our digest. So this is about comparison between Node.js and Spring Boot as two frameworks for backend development. You may find a lot of useful information here. Also, companies that use each of them for different reasons. Also, no direct answers, as here with Jakarta versus Spring, the war goes on, but still like something you may think of. Like not the world doesn't end with only Spring and all around that. So yeah, these two articles I think is good to read to just have a little overview on what's going around and to know more about the current programming ecosystem in general, not only the Java one. Yeah, looks like I finished the discussion here. Do you want to add something, guys, by the way, to this topic?
The very first Java project was with Java Enterprise Edition in 2014.
Okay, well, yeah. So
nothing good, nothing special, I can say. About this.
So just
very
in our topic, I see that Artyom Kalita suggestions, and I agree. It depends what to use. Jakarta, Java Enterprise Edition, what we need.
Yeah, but anyway, read these articles. They have a lot of good things which you may consider, and pros and cons of both of different frameworks. So here in this article, Jakarta versus Spring, there is timeline of war, how it started, how it's going, and basically both frameworks take good parts of each one. And this is really good. So even Jakarta now is not as ugly as HGB3 was. HGB3 war, I mean, and yeah, just have a look at it, and that's good. And also the same regarding this article in comparison Node.js versus Spring Boot. Also, not everything is not so bad with Node.js, and everything is not so good with Spring Boot. So something to consider. But yeah, let's move back to the poll which Alex posted. Thanks, Alex, again. So 87% for Spring and 2% for Java EE. Still, thank you, guys. And 9% for other frameworks. So you may write your other frameworks you use into the chat. So we will know which other frameworks do we have here. Okay, I would say we may move on. We have several nice articles just to have a look at. So first one is related to 10 basic Spring Boot annotations. This article contains really basic annotations we all use every day. So just to check all of them and reconsider that you know everything about them. Checking if there is any difference between component and service, for example.
Good for interview preparation.
Yeah, if you want to refresh your mind regarding all the annotation, all the basic annotations which is used in Spring. And another article is regarding Spring Boot services for AWS. So as far as I get it, this is just cool demo. How can you configure your beans to communicate with different AWS services like S3, CloudFront, SAS, SQS? Just in case you never did that, I think that's a good point to start from for integration. Alex, as one of the experts who has, I suppose, all the certificates from Amazon.
Not all the basic certificates. There are a lot of professional certificates to get.
Okay, so what do you think about that article?
Yeah, so AWS for, well, first of all, what I'd like to start with is if you go to spring.start.io, you will not manage to find an extension for AWS. There are extensions for Tanzu, there are extensions for Google Cloud and for Azure, but there are no extensions for AWS. Nevertheless, it is spring.start.spring.io. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, but there is a separate, let's say, there is a separate module and there is a separate project on GitHub which allows you to get proper configuration and connect it directly. Nevertheless, what is described in this article is still valid because if you ever dealt with AWS, you know that they have comprehensive documentation and it is super hard to find, let's say, latest version, which is up to date, which you can use and collect all the proper, let's say, parameters in order to make it working. So I suppose speaking about this article, it's a good starting point if you have never dealt with it. If you already dealt with it, I suppose you will find a lot of shortcuts for you. If not, you also can take a look into the Spring Boot AWS module, which I will find in a minute and put to the chat.
Yeah. So, but by the way, it's weird that there is no normal library support from AWS for Spring. That's kind of really strange. There are rumors that Amazon creating Kotlin SDK for now, and there will be some deep integration between them. But yeah, maybe it's not rumors, maybe it was an alpha, but yeah, I think it's not released yet. So still we're waiting. I think they think about using Kotlin in lambdas. That's what I get for the latest.
So again, so AWS has taken a significant step forward in order to run, let's say, Java applications in cloud, because the main drawback of the Java, speaking about cloud, is that it takes a lot of time in order to spin up the application. And here AWS took a step forward. They created a snapshots of, they introduced snapshots for your application. For example, you're starting the application. It takes, let's say, 15 seconds to start your Lambda, and next they're making a snapshot. And next time you're starting this Lambda, it will not be started from scratch. It will be started from this snapshot when your application is already up and running, fully initialized. All the beans are already created, proxies introduced, and so on. So AWS and Amazon Careta are slowly moving towards good support of Java in cloud. And other than that, obviously, even speaking about Lambdas, we still have an opportunity to build native images and run them in Lambdas. So maybe native images are not so convenient, but still, just because it takes a lot of time to build them, but still this snapshot approach may be a game changer.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much for this information. Yeah, I was wrong. There is an SDK for Kotlin and AWS, and links are in the chat. So yeah. Well, anyway, that's strange. They created SDK for Kotlin, but not for Java. For me, it's still a bit a bit weird. But anyway, okay. So I think we have 5 minutes left, and it's time to wrap up a bit. So I think we discussed pretty most of the articles we had here. The only left is this one, is article from Josh Long about Spring One State of Mind. So take a look at this one. Josh Long is a great speaker. Don't miss his talks. He had some good one recently regarding new versions of Spring Boot and Spring. So it's there. Don't miss it. All articles could be found in the chat, of course, and in the link on our We Are community page. Also here we have a link to our podcast, link to Lithuanian Java community, and also we have a lot of nice links to different videos which you may be willing to watch. So this is video from MGC on International Women's Day, video on Spring Cloud Stream, and also a lot of videos on Java On conference. So all videos from Java On currently published on our YouTube channel, so you may check them all. That's basically it for Java On 2022, but soon will be announcement of Java On 2023, so don't miss it. It is coming very, very soon. Guys, do you want to add anything to this to this discussion? Looks like no.
Yeah, the silent is we are agreeing.
Okay, so saying this, let me wrap up this podcast. So I want to thank all of you for taking time and being with us today. That's really really big pleasure that each time we have more and more people coming to listen to us, and then people listening to our podcast and recording. Please share this information about this podcast, about what we're doing here with your colleagues. Tell them, hey guys, each month somebody gathering together and speak about news around Java world. I hope you enjoyed it. So I want to thank all of you for being here. I want to thank our host and guests for spending their time for discussing this news. So thank you guys very much. Before I will go through them and say their names and thank them, each of them, I want to ask you to spend a couple of minutes to leave a feedback for us. It's always important. So we know that we're doing right, that we doing things which are useful. So you will receive a link for feedback after this event will end, and please fill it. spend just a couple of minutes. If you have a couple of minutes more, write some warm words for us. It's always pleasure to read something you like, and also pleasure read that you don't like something. We use it to improve ourselves. So let me again introduce our today's guests. So our guest from Lithuania Java community, Mikolai Kramach. Mikolai, thank you very much for being today with us.
Thank you a lot. That was a really nice podcast.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Our guest from London, Spring expert and owner of all basic Amazon certificates. Let's say it like this way. Alexander Mamin. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you, Roman, for having me today. I wish you all productive week.
Thank you. And basically, people who always with you here on this podcast, so most of the time. So it's Sergey Goretsky. Sergey, thank you very much.
Thanks for a great conversation.
Yeah, it's Igor Rubanovich.
Hey, colleagues, thank you for this interesting time. And I want to ask again, rate this podcast, JNews, and provide for us feedbacks. It's very important for us. Do not forget.
Yeah, the person who do this digest for you every month, Vadim Yemelyanov. Vadim, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
I forget last thing to add here, by the way. In the email, in the very bottom of email with this digest, you have a button to share and use. So use it, please. Share with us some topics you will think, some articles you think is important. We consider all of them, and they come into digest, so we will be able to discuss, and everyone will be able to read these articles. So don't miss the chance.
Please don't hesitate to suggest your own articles, your own materials. We can help you to make them great. And
yeah,
make them
please do that. Please do that. Also, I want to thank you, people who are behind the curtain. It's Anastasia Novik, Irin Datsko, and Igor Kosten, our designer. Anastasia and Irina help us to administrate all of this. Thank you very much. You are behind the curtain, but still very valuable. Again, thank you guys very much. My name is Roman Mierson. I'm also a host of this thing. See you next month with new digest and new podcast. Have a productive day, productive week. See you. Bye.
Bye, colleagues.
Thank you. See you. Bye.
Bye.